That would be my stripper song.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is Producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while filling questions from listeners like you.
Wow. You know what? I'm not going to shit on it. I like the energy.
You know what? I feel like I perfected it, and now I can start playing with it. That's the.
Oh, yeah.
Much like masturbation.
Now you can start playing with it. It was just business up until now.
Yeah. Well, I was just like mastering it, you know?
Right. Masturbating it.
Yeah, then mastering the baiting, and then now I can really start experimenting. Just bringing in vegetables, produce.
There's a lot of like equipment in this room that is not for recording. And a lot for recording.
Yeah, their question is recording what?
Just a quick reminder, we're doing an episode of Dr. DC right now.
Right, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I was like, Dr. DC is different than the other DC that I do. Shut the fuck up. This week in news.
Seamless transition.
We should watch this. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it? The first Arrowverse crossover trailer?
I actually haven't watched this yet. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's see it, because I saw it. I want it. This is the first time that it actually is slightly relevant for me, because I'm completely caught up on The Flash.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You completely caught up. Oh, fuck.
That's it?
Wow. That was a lot of build-up for something very short. So for those who
That's what she said.
So for those who haven't watched it, it's a short clip of Barry and John Diggle fighting. But
then Barry's but
it's totally normal to Diggle. Barry's like, wait, what are you doing here? And then like you see like he sort of like moves almost like automatically and ends up like beating Diggle in their little sparring match. And he goes, I'm the Green Arrow. Like he's discovering it. So Barry is
yeah. And Diggle goes, yeah, of course.
So Barry is at least somewhat attuned to the fact that something has changed,
which is interesting. I like that.
But that also indicates that thing where he's Green Arrow and Stephen Amell is the Flash isn't a parallel Earth.
Oh,
it's something that's like changing.
And Barry's aware of it, which means that Barry probably caused it.
Well, but if the monitor's involved, then maybe Earths are merging or things are it's altering histories, right? Because if it was just a parallel Earth, then on that Earth, Barry would just be the Green Arrow. That's it. But the fact that like he's like aware of it means something is happening to
like some sort of
continuity,
some sort of time change.
Yeah,
I'm assuming timeline change, which is cool. I'm caught up and I'm excited, which is new for me with CW. Well,
you actually
DC shows.
And you liked season 4. You said
I really liked season 4, and I'm loving season 5. So my wife and I are watching, and she started falling off in season 4 for sure. But I was like gung ho the whole way, right? And then when season 5 started, and I knew that, spoiler alert here, but that his.
Yeah, we actually need to put spoiler alerts.
I know.
I got called out for ruining some shit like a few weeks ago.
Spoiler alert. That's that Iris and Barry's daughter is a Flash and comes back from the future. And I knew that because of the commercials that were everywhere.
Of course.
And I think we had watched the trailer for season 5. Like,
definitely.
So there's no real spoilers for me, but I knew that was coming, but I knew that for my wife, she's not a comic book fan. She's not really into any of the movies or TV shows, but she's been enjoying Flash.
Right.
I knew that would be an eye-rolling thing for her to just be like, so I was kind of like something's gonna happen, and it's gonna seem ridiculous, but think of it as a really fun thing that's gonna happen, and that'll be a fun character thing. And so it happened. She kind of rolled her eyes, but knowingly sort of did so. And I think I've been enjoying it since that.
Right.
But it's definitely one of those like, oh, of course, like another speedster, and it's their daughter this time, and it's like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
like I get it, but like, and then she was like, wait, what's her name? And I was like, I don't even want to tell you.
XS isn't that bad of a name.
It's pretty hilarious. I don't know.
Do you know what? I've been
trying to figure out what's it stand for. Is it like extra speed or something? Like,
or is I thought the idea is that she's kind of petite, but then she also it's also like the word excess.
Oh, because she's excessive.
Yeah, and has excessive speed. And
yes. Okay.
I thought that was the play on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense too. But I mean, it is two letters, so you would think that it would be standing for something. I mean, in that case, it would be ES. I guess it was going to be extra speed. But
what's your superhero name? Extra Speed, played by James Remar.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
How much are you gonna like flip your shit if he shows up at that Elseworlds crossover where they're like, I'm Supergirl now.
You can tell from my speed and flight abilities.
When I grew up on Mars, I became a manhunter. Now I'm the Martian manhunter.
Jesus Christ. I hate him so much.
I know you do. I had to do it. I had to bring it up.
Oh my God. I can't talk about this anymore. Let's move to the...
Sure.
Well, speaking of The Flash, in the comics, The Flash just discovered DC's strangest city in ruins.
Yes. So again, this is like a spoiler alerty thing. Although we'll be a couple of weeks out from it, but still. So Barry he had sort of initial encounters with some of these new forces that were released into the world. The Sage Force, the Strength Force,
Still Force.
But the forces hadn't settled. They hadn't like actually found their sort of hosts.
Yes.
So Barry has decided to go on a force quest, which was suggested by the flashes of the multiverse to him. And so the Flash quest brings him to Gorilla City, and Gorilla City, in ruins. Don't know why. We know it's going to be tied to these forces. It undoubtedly has something to do with Grodd. Grodd in the Justice League comic has been sort of manipulating the Still Force through a character called the Turtle. So he's been basically mentally manipulating the Turtle. So Grodd essentially has been controlling the Still Force. So we're going to discover what's happened to Gorilla City. But yeah, it's all tied into these new forces and Barry trying to figure out like what's the new status quo now that it's not only the Speed Force out there.
I really hope they don't ever bring that into the TV show. I'm going to be honest.
The Strength Force and Sage Force.
Yeah.
That would be too much for the TV show, I think. Although the TV show has not shied away from the too much shit.
No, it's been doing a pretty good job. Like,
I think that would be a lot. They haven't even technically introduced the negative Speed Force.
No, that's true.
So,
God, we need to do like a whole Flash show.
I mean, we already did a Speed Force episode.
I know, but like, we need to do like.
Well, this is the thing. This is the great thing about the Dr. DC podcast. If I could just have a moment of your time, is that really things are always changing and evolving. We're never really done with a topic or a character. So keep tuning in and
here's my literature.
Steal your friends' phones and subscribe to them.
All right, let's go on to the next piece of news, which is Batman's full lineup for the new Outsiders has been revealed in Detective Comics.
Yeah, and actually it's not especially different than I think what we knew it was going to be. So the Outsiders back in the 80s were a team that Batman put together when he left the Justice League. It was Black Lightning, Katana, Metamorpho, Geoforce, and Halo.
I see you, Halo.
Halo. It's funny that we both kind of went. That's what I was thinking of too. Not like high altitude, low oxygen jumps. Sorry, Tom Cruise.
Or like the video game Halo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of Halos out there, guys.
Yeah.
It's a fun podcast.
Interesting.
We have fun.
Too much, some might say. But yeah, so this new team, sort of for a new era, has a couple of returning characters. Black Lightning and Katana are still part of the Outsiders. But the rest of the team are members of, sort of extended members of the Bat family. So we get Duke Thomas as the Signal, Barbara Gordon as Batgirl, and Cassandra Cain as Orphan are all going to be part of this current team of Outsiders. Now, the writer Brian Edward Hill has said like he's up for, you know, expanding or rotating that roster, but he wants to, he didn't want to like announce a bigger team or things like that, because he wants to make sure he gives like proper character beats and things like that to everyone, so they actually have some meats like to deal with in the comic. But yeah, that's coming very soon.
Are you excited for it?
It's on my list. I'm getting it, so
that should be good.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie, when it's like books like that, I care less about Batman, right? I'm getting it because I want to read more Black Lightning or Katana or stuff like that. So that's my reason for getting it, is I want to see more of those characters I don't get to see very much.
Well, also, I mean, apparently Detective Comics is being canceled.
Yeah, you bastard. Although in fact, like that was a terribly written headline. Richard,
bleeding cool news. That's what you get.
Richard sent me an article that said like DC canceling Detective Comics, blah, blah, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, not like issue 1000 is coming.
I know it got March. Me.
Like,
so
what
like,
the fuck? And opened it up, but they're just canceling some like omnibus thing of like early Detective Comics stories. But yeah, the headline is like DC cancels Detective Comics. Sensationalist.
He also kidnapped your sister and like raped your father.
Jesus.
Hey,
how can you mishear that? That's not the same issue at all.
That's what they said.
Jesus.
It turned out that they actually were not doing either. They were actually giving like a birthday present to your family.
What a stretch.
I know. That's
my God.
Bleeding cool news.
No, I meant you.
Could go places with that, but I won't.
No.
This got us, speaking of getting excited, Aquaman and Mira make waves with new movie poster. I swear to God, if I see one more Aquaman thing that says make waves, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Every single news piece is just like, Aquaman's making waves this weekend. I'm just like, fuck you, I know it's to do with water.
He has water.
Get it? Waves, because of like the ocean where he's from.
Do you know what's great is that all of these posters now are showing him in the Aquaman costume.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's got to get you hard as a rock.
I'm diamond hard. I'm at like a
unobtainium hard.
I'm at like a 12 inches on the Mohs hardness scale. I'm so excited for this movie.
What is it? December 20th?
December 21st.
21st. That's right.
Yeah. So early Christmas presents.
Ooh.
I was talking to Kelly McNeely, who had been a guest on the
Kelly McNeely,
before. We were talking about this last night, and she said, very unsettlingly, she asked me what it's like to be lusting after the same actor as my mother. And it's weird, but I mean, it's not going to stop me. Jason Momoa. I'm into it. But yeah, these posters came out. Everyone's excited. Jason Momoa like even posted like, if you think I'm badass, wait till you see Mira.
Yeah.
Like I'm just really looking forward to it.
My worry is it's just I feel like the roller coasters go click 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 click, and I'm like, this feels too good to be. Is this getting too high at this point? Like,
could be, but I don't know. All of the sort of, you know, people that see the test screenings or stuff like that, there's a lot of like excitement and like, oh, I can't say anything, but like, so
they've been positive. Yeah.
Also, I mean, like, listen, when I saw Justice League, I was grinning like an idiot the whole time. It's only like later with thought and reflection that I have a hard time with that movie. But like, to go for the experience of like seeing my favorite superheroes, watching shit happen, I had a good time when I saw it. Like, I can't deny that. So if Aquaman is already better than Justice League, not difficult, like, I'm going to enjoy it no matter what on the night. All I'm asking is I get to enjoy it when I rewatch it.
Yeah.
Which frankly and this might surprise you, I can kind of do with Suicide Squad.
Yeah, you guys, you and your wife watch it pretty constantly.
A lot. It's like, I know it's not a good movie, but it's actually like, I don't mind it. It's kind of fun to watch.
I can't. There's so many good movies in the world. I can't do it.
I know, but I don't know. I lump it in with like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Like, bad movie, fun to watch. That's kind of where I sit with it.
For those of you who are interested in our ranking of the DC movies, that might be a future Patreon episode.
I think it will, yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to do this because some shit needs to get settled.
Once and for all.
I've got a lot of thoughts. Well, speaking of DC movies, Birds of Prey movie casts it's Cassandra Cain with like a super young actress.
Yeah, well, and from what I gather, plot-wise, it sort of seems to center a lot on like Black Mask is like after Cassandra Cain, and that Birds of Prey,
McGregor.
Yeah, the Birds of Prey kind of come together to defend her. Now, which is interesting because in the comics, Cassandra Cain does not need defending. She's like one of the most like lethal, dangerous martial artists on the planet.
Really, because it's basically like
even as a child.
Because like the casting, it seemed like a little like short and chubby little Asian girl. Like I was not expecting.
Well, so now here's the other side of it: is that you know how people are. What's the word I'm looking for? Shitty.
People.
Yeah. So as soon as this casting came out, I saw a lot of tweets and have been reporting a number of tweets where people were like, she's not attractive enough to be Cassandra Cain. It's like, she's 11. You're a creep.
Yeah. Anyone who is 11 shouldn't be attractive. Yeah. So that's fine.
There's been a lot of that kind of shit and people just being like shitty about it. But clearly this is a slightly different version of Cassandra Cain. Maybe she is still like an expert martial artist, but maybe she's also like
11 years old.
11 years old. You know what I mean? So we still know so little about the context of this movie and things like that. But yeah, I mean, in general, I'm super excited for this movie. It's got a great cast. They've got some amazing people in there. The lineup's really cool.
How do you feel about Ewan McGregor?
I think when we were talking like several weeks ago about some of the potentials for Black Mask, Charlton Copley was in there, and I was like, oh, that's the one I want. Yeah. But I'm into the idea of Ewan McGregor because I think he could do it. Someone on Twitter did get back to me and mentioned a movie in which he's like a villain. That's relatively recent. But in general, like that's not something you see out of him. I think he'd be good. Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. What about you?
I know you're black lightning and this is your song.
It's going to be Moulin Rouge.
And you are a bad girl. This is also your song. I hope you're a dark knight. I hope you're a dark knight.
It's funny that you went to Moulin Rouge. I would have said like the Birds of Prey need to be sure he doesn't get the high ground.
Okay, yeah. Back in. I mean, whenever I just
hello there.
No, I can't. You're welcome. Yeah, thank God damn it. All right, let's go to the next piece of news. And the last one. Superman teases a major change for General Zod.
Oh, right. Right, what is happening with that right now? Superman and Zod are like teaming up.
Wait, what?
Moment. They have to team up. I'm not actually reading the Superman comic right now. I'm just reading Action Comics. But the current status quo is that Zod was freed from the Phantom Zone by the Suicide Squad, was basically like working for Waller for a bit until he managed to get the bomb out of his neck. But then he's basically taken over this alien planet and made it sort of like a quote unquote new Krypton. And is
it something to do with like the fact that Rogol Zar is so bad?
Oh yeah, it's got to be that. Right. So the Rogol Zar thing that started in Action Comics 1000. He's the one that wants to wipe the Kryptonian plague from the universe. So it's gotten to the point where Superman is teaming up with General Zod and sort of Zod's followers, basically to make a stand so that Krypton isn't completely wiped out.
Yeah.
which is, you know, that's clearly showing like a level of desperation or the stakes, because Zod and Superman do not get along. Those two. The scamps. No, I mean, like, Zod has routinely tried to just wipe the House of L from
completely
the face of the earth.
but he's not against everybody. He likes being like from Krypton.
Well, this is the thing, right? I mean, you can always appeal to Zod's sort of like disgusting nationalist kind of thing, right? Where it's like, if we don't stop this now, our entire way of life, and he goes like, oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Oh, that's a good point. Should have said that from the beginning.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm not currently reading the Superman comic, but I'll probably pick up the trade once it's out.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of what I'm looking forward to as well.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm not sure if that's the major change they're talking about, just that Zod is helping Superman, or if
that would be my guess.
Doing like an altered origin or something like that for Zod.
No, it's that's kind of what I assumed it was, but
yeah,
guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way to transition into this. This week's theme, we're doing the third installment, Fanstravaganza III.
The
Fanstravaganza.
Fanstravaganza in space.
At least it's not like Fanstravaganza in the hood.
Oh, no. Yeah. What?
I'm trying to think of like the Leprechaun movies. That's
what are other bad like third installments? Fanstravaganza.
Because I forget
at World's End.
Yeah.
Fanstravaganza Revolutions.
Fanstravaganza Generations.
What, like Star Trek?
Yeah,
that's the first TNG.
I didn't like it.
You don't like Generations?
No, not really.
This is for another time. I don't have time to take you through why that's a great movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
No. No. So what we do in these episodes is we take all the, you guys ask questions all the time, and we try to use as much as we can, but
which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's great. We want all the questions you possibly have, but we can't always get to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't make sense for any of the themes that we have coming up. So what we do is we grab all the extra ones that we've been collecting all this time, and or you ask questions after the episode's over.
Totally.
In regards to that theme. So we take them all together and we put them into these big sort of grab bags of episodes.
Yeah.
So there is no theme. It's just whatever you guys ask.
The theme is questions.
So with that, let's head over to Facebook.
Go to the face said the book. Go to the Facebook.
I like that you've now been stuck with saying the things that I created. It makes me really happy. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Oh no. So our first question comes from our old friend Chicken Maddie.
That can't be sticking.
Oh no, it definitely is. I'm sure he likes it. Matthew Poulter asks,
so sorry, Matt.
Any writers / creators you don't really get the hype about?
Oh, interesting.
Jim Lee.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't like Jim Lee's art,
not really. I find that it's super 90s, and I just I mean,
he is the man behind Wildstorm, so yes, very 90s.
But for me, it's just like all of his work was it's super indicative of that time. All the stories are a lot of like I was never a big All-Star Batman fan. Like I just find like Superman for Tomorrow is good. It's pretty good.
I would say, I mean, Jim Lee's art is just, it's so like dependable though, right? It's very close to like a house style.
It 100% is, especially that 90s style. That was
yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, like I don't think you're ever going to read, especially like in sort of modern times, I don't think you're going to read a Jim Lee book and be like, holy fuck, the art. But the art is, I don't think
it's not.
I don't think the art's ever disappointed me.
It's
in a
never,
Jim
but
Lee
it,
book.
but it literally, when I read,
Except for once. I can think of one.
Oh.
Of one. In the Multiversity Mastermen, which takes place on Earth 10, which is the Nazi Earth.
okay,
There's one panel where you see like all of the new Reichsmen. That's their version of the Justice League.
yeah,
And Leatherwing, that Earth's Batman, has like the biggest thighs I've ever seen. Like they like. I think it's meant to be, you know, like those pants where like the sides come out more.
oh yeah,
But it looks like they're full. It doesn't
my
look
God.
like more fabric. So it looks like he's got like each thigh is the size of his waist.
oh my god,
That was one panel where I was like, what the fuck is happening here? I think that's the only time I can think of where Jim Lee's art has really like let me down.
For me, it's just when you think of comic book art, this is the style you
Totally.
think of. And for me, it's just so unremarkable for me that I was just like, yeah, it's just, maybe he was the person that created this style, but I don't think he was.
Right. So it's just not doing anything like spectacular.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, we know who you like art wise.
Yeah, yeah. Say it.
It rhymes with Simtail.
Yes, Tim Sale is definitely my artist.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, okay. A writer or a creator or an artist that I don't get the hype about.
You're like Grant Morris.
That would be a huge fucking
Yeah,
twist.
that would be.
Be like, wait a minute, but he's Dr. DC's been gaslighting us about Doom Patrol this whole time.
Now he's like, you guys are fucking idiots. You guys like that?
I told you guys to like Morrison and you did, you sheep. That I don't get the hype. I mean, I can't understand how Rob Liefeld or Scott Lobdell keep working.
Oh yeah, your Scott Lobdell thing is
I mean, this is also from someone who has like self-confessed enjoyed things that Scott Lobdell has worked on.
yeah.
But like I just don't know how. I don't get it. I don't like either of them. Rob Liefeld doesn't really do a ton of DC stuff, but like Rob Liefeld and Scott Lobdell, both of them to me are like, really, you guys?
For me, I think Lobdell just brings in a lot of violence with the work that he does.
Yeah, which is not necessarily a problem, but it feels like a crutch in his writing.
Yeah.
In the way that, like how Tarantino's almost become like a sort of parody of himself. Like Tarantino movies are like, you're seeing them sort of like through like a double thick lens of Tarantino-isms.
Everything he's like, Grindhouse, get it?
Yeah.
I like Japanese movies, get it?
And that's kind of how I feel about Scott Lobdell, except he doesn't have that definitive a style. So it's not even like stylistically, you'd be like, oh, that's a Lobdell comic. It's just like, oh, I don't think I like this. It seems gratuitous. And then you look at the front and be like, oh, it's Lobdell.
Well, I think what it is I think he's taking a lot from Frank Miller with the violence and stuff, but he doesn't have enough of the storytelling to go with it.
Sure. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, by contrast, people who I think are worthy of their hype, Scott Snyder, Gail Simone,
Jeff Johns.
Yeah, Jeff Johns. Again, I mean, like Jeff Johns as a writer falls into like the Jim Lee category. He's very mainstream.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think there's anyone who's done more for sort of like resurrecting silly things and giving them meaning, like taking all these old Silver Age concepts or these big sort of kind of cosmic ideas and then making them like palatable. Morrison will take a cosmic idea and be like, your brain will melt. And Jeff Johns takes a cosmic idea and makes like the For Dummies book.
Well,
so
I think
that you can actually read the story.
But I think that's why I can actually understand what's going on with the CW Flash. Like,
Sure, yeah.
I think between Berlanti and Jeff Johns, I think that you really have an understanding of what's going on
Jeff
there.
Johns is totally worth the hype. And like the way he's expanded the mythology of Green Lantern, that he's like completely changed that. Same with Aquaman, frankly. Yeah, other people that I think are worth the hype. I love Juan Ferreira as an artist, Benjamin Percy as a writer, Babs Tarr. Yeah. I guess I would say I'm not a fan of the style of Amanda Connor's artwork. It's a little cartoonier than I would like.
Yeah.
But that's just that's just like taste. Like I don't think she's not good or not worth the praise that she's given. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
so you know, I like that Starfire book. I think the art suits that book.
Definitely.
So I don't know that that's really like the kind of answer I'd want to give, because I do think she's good. It's just not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Let's head on over to Twitter.
Twitter.
You okay?
No.
At least you stopped doing Alfred.
I can't.
You did. I think it's not there anymore.
I know, but I just keep tripping on the T's.
You know how many to do?
Well, it's that, and like I clearly am not doing my like vocal warm-ups before we start. Red leather, yellow leather.
Unique New York.
The arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
I did not kill that woman. What? Sorry.
Is this rolling?
Oop. Well, the first question comes from Raspberry Babies Reviews.
The kind you get on the secondhand podcast.
Nice. Raz asks, when you're reading comics, which portrayal of a character, animated or live action, do you hear as you read? It's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's only so many that have, you know, kind of been done multiple ways.
And I would also say there's a second part of his question, which I think could play into this, which is who is your favorite voice actor and what character did they do? I feel like these two kind of go hand in hand, but
sure. Well, let's start with the obvious one. When you read stories like Long Halloween or things like that, how do you hear Batman? Do you hear any like actual versions, or is it just your own kind of thing?
You know who Batman is.
Oh, I know that the leading answer is Kevin
Conroy.
But do you actually hear Kevin Conroy's voice
definitely.
when you read a Batman
Without
comic?
a doubt. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah. That's
see, because I'm not sure that I do.
Because I'll say like a good example is when I read Harry Potter, I picture the characters from the movie.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely like Batman. I'm hearing Kevin Conroy.
Okay.
I'm hearing Tara Strong.
For Harley?
Yeah.
More than Arlene Sorkin?
Definitely. I
Really?
think Tara's is the more like, I mean, she took it on at what point?
I mean, she's done it for most of like the last 15 years.
But I mean,
probably.
what point of Batman animated series did she take it on?
She didn't. She didn't do it in the series.
thought she did.
She took over, I think, for
Oh.
like the Arkham games or something.
Oh,
like that.
okay. I find that like her, especially her Batgirl as well. She did Batgirl
She did.
in the
yes.
animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like
Or maybe-
pretty sure.
Maybe she did take Harley too.
I thought she did. I thought she at one point she took it off because I know that she was on the show.
Right.
Like I know that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know that. Yeah, Batgirl was definitely her thing.
I actually think for Harley, I think I hear Margot Robbie now.
Really?
Yeah, it's not like quite as pronounced, that sort of like
High-pitched.
that accent and the high pitch thing. I think that's how I read Harley, is more with like how Margot Robbie did it. Which is funny because that's so recent and only
Yeah,
one,
I'm
and only one
surprised.
thing. But yeah, I don't know that I actually hear Kevin Conroy's voice when I read Batman. I actually think it's probably closer to something like I don't know who I'm picturing actually, because it's not like any of the live action ones. So I think it's just like generic gruff voice, you know. Actually, do you know what? It might be Will Arnett,
Really?
but not like comedy. You know what I mean? But like just the way he does the Batman voice, that might be what I'm hearing when I read comics, which is kind of funny actually.
That is super funny. I wouldn't expect that.
Superman or like Wonder Woman or any characters like that, is there, or like the Flash, are there any like particular ways that you hear their voices?
I would say now I get the CW's Barry Allen. Like that's who I imagine. Like when I was reading the Blackest Night,
Right.
that's the version. I mean, it helped that it felt very similar to those comics.
Yeah.
But that's definitely who I was imagining.
I definitely hear Michael Rosenbaum. I know in the cartoons he was playing Wally, but then he also played Barry in some of the animated films and stuff like that. That's sort of the voice I hear for Flash, is Michael Rosenbaum. Hal Jordan, it's tough not to hear Nathan Fillion. Yeah, I mean, for some of them, I don't know that I like I don't hear Jason Momoa when I read Aquaman. Like I don't. I don't know that.
Well, I mean, you've been
have.
reading Aquaman for so long, right? Like,
Yeah. But then the flip side is that there are some obscure characters who like I'll never not hear them a certain way. Like Ed Asner did the voice of Granny Goodness in like the Superman animated series and in Superman
I love
Batman
Ed
Apocalypse.
Asner.
And I will never ever read Granny Goodness and not hear Ed Asner. Like that's always going to be in there.
well, I think Joker.
Mark Hamill's Joker, yeah.
That's the joke. Like, that's the Joker, right? Like,
It is, but but something about the comics doesn't always lean into that sort of like jovial kind of, especially, when you're reading, like, it depends on the Joker you're reading. If you're reading Snyder and Capullo's like run on Batman, that voice does not fit that Joker.
no,
Right?
no.
Like that Joker is like straight out of a fucking nightmare. And it wouldn't make sense to hear that sort almost like sing-songy, like jovial Joker that Mark Hamill does. But then other, like, like if we're talking back to like Infinite Crisis or something like that Joker, like, yeah, I'd probably hear Mark Hamill reading that one. Now, is there a voice actor, let's say, other than Kevin Conroy as Batman that you think is like the best or maybe the most versatile or things like that?
Well, it's tough, right? Like, it really depends. Like, there's not a lot of, like, when it comes, I find that especially with like DC stuff, it's a lot of the same actors now.
Yep.
Like, it's Kevin, obviously, all the time. Tara Strong plays like I think on the DC Girls or whatever, like the superhero girls, she's playing like 3 of the parts at once.
Makes sense, yeah. I mean, some of those voice actors are super versatile. You wouldn't even necessarily know that they're playing as many parts as they are. I just thought of who I hear as Batman.
Oh,
It's Bruce Greenwood.
really?
Yeah. He played Batman in Under the Red Hood, and he played Batman on Young Justice. That's what I hear when I read Batman. It's Bruce Greenwood.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me, it's all they just keep they've used Kevin Conroy for so much and all of the ways that I've enjoyed Batman besides live action. Obviously, I think so. For me, it's just ubiquitous. Like, it's
Sure, yeah.
It's Batman, it's Kevin. But I get that. Like, but do you ever find it jarring when it's like somebody different for a character? Like,
Yeah. Well,
Batman Brave and the Bold with that Joker.
except that that's also riffing on something, right? Like that's kind of riffing on Cesar Romero a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So there's
not artistically, but
no, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I do sometimes find it jarring, but it's usually more about whether or not I think the voice matches what they're doing with the animation.
That's
it's like,
huge
for
thing,
example,
right?
in The Batman, that animated series, that Joker looks very different. He's, he's almost like acrobatic, and he's kind of broad-chested. And it's Kevin Michael Richardson voices the Joker in that one. Which I ordinarily wouldn't put together, but that's like the way they draw that Joker, that voice fits.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about like how that works than whether or not it's like the one that I've heard before. I don't know that I have a voice actor that I think is better than any other, but like people like
I've definitely got a lot of
like,
thoughts on voice actors.
Is it John DiMaggio?
John DiMaggio is probably like my modern day most favorite voice actor, but he hasn't really done a lot. Like, he was Tarmac in Static Shock, but like he hasn't done a ton.
I think he was the Joker in that Under the Red Hood. Yeah, I mean, like I like John DiMaggio.
He was
Troy Baker is pretty incredible. The fact that he could play a younger version
Troy Baker's always really
of
good.
Mark Hamill's Joker, like specifically being the same one.
Yeah,
that's really something, because that could very easily come off as parody, and it doesn't. Tara Strong, obviously. Susan Eisenberg is Wonder Woman. That's the voice of Wonder Woman to me. Although it really should be someone with maybe more of a Mediterranean accent. But yeah, she's just too iconic, I think, from the cartoon.
Yeah, for me, she's just super fun, I think, to follow, and she's always a really great character. I mean, Mel Blanc is gonna always be the best. Yeah. There's some
of those old standbys in the world of voice acting, right?
Well, I mean, he could do characters doing other characters' voices.
Yeah, which is the mark, I think, of
when
good
you can
voice acting.
like when you break down his like Porky Pig and how he creates that, like that stuff is nuts.
Yeah.
I think that few have like gotten to that point.
I do want to talk very, very briefly before we move on about one particular version of the Joker that is almost universally reviled.
Yeah,
that I don't 100% hate.
Really? Okay.
The Joker shows up in one episode of Young Justice. Over 2 seasons, he's only in one episode.
Okay.
And he's part of the Injustice gang.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by Brent Spiner.
Really?
And he voices him like not very like big. Like he kind of talks like this.
Oh, that's
like kind of like this very
sort of like this inner darkness sort of
yes.
thing.
I don't hate it.
Really?
Yeah. I a lot of people really like loathe it because it's like it's almost the opposite of how he's been played in every other form. But again, I think it kind of fit with what they were doing on the show. So I don't know. I kind of like the Brent Spiner one. That's me officially defending Young Justice Joker's voice.
Come at me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, Billy West too, and
oh yeah.
Like, but a lot of these aren't even like DC voices. These are just like people. I mean, they've done random characters, but
you know, ones that we've mentioned: Kevin Conroy as Batman, Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman, Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern, Michael Rosenbaum as Flash. Like a lot of these are sort of standard voices, and then you know other people have taken those roles on, but those are kind of like Phil LaMarr as Jon Stewart as Green Lantern. I don't even mind Phil LaMarr as Aquaman in Injustice.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the only other, like, I think Bruce Greenwood is probably my second favorite Batman.
Kevin Conroy is like Batman. I will never ever deny that.
Yeah.
But I think I prefer Bruce Greenwood.
Really?
There's something about the quality.
Oh, he does have a texture to it.
The quality of his Bruce Wayne and his Batman are just slightly different, slightly more human to me.
Well, Bruce is Kevin Conroy's is more of just like a lot of bass.
Kevin Conroy's Batman is like Batman the myth to me.
Yeah.
Bruce Greenwood's is like there's a man in that mask.
Yeah,
is kind of.
I get that. That makes a lot.
They're
of sense.
both great, and like it's not to knock either one, but yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on to the next question. Comes from Chad Bokelman, who asks, what were your favorite Blackest Night tie-ins? Some of my favorites were the Phantom Stranger issue, the Adam and the Hawkman issue, the Flash mini, the Wonder Woman mini, and the Starman issue.
So the main story of Blackest Night took place in the Blackest Night title, and then also in Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other books did tie-in issues, which often happens with these big events. And then the added thing for Blackest Night was they resurrected books that had been canceled, gave them another issue or two that were specifically part of Blackest Night. One that I really, really enjoy is the resurrected issue of The Question. I'm not going to remember the issue number, but it's question 37 or something like that. And in that one, Vic Sage has been sort of long dead.
Yeah.
It's Renee Montoya, or not that long, but Renee Montoya is The Question. And basically, like Vic Sage is reanimated as a Black Lantern and comes after her. And Lady Shiva, who played a big role in the Vic Sage Question series as sort of an adversary, but also as a trainer and things like that, and who is a very skilled martial artist, sort of comes, and both Shiva and Renee Montoya have to learn how to like quell their emotions, keep them hidden, because that's what Black Lanterns see, right? That their vision is based on emotion. I don't know. I really like it. There's some good, like, sort of hand-to-hand combat, kind of stuff. A lot of it's like in the rain, but it's just this very sort of like contained story. it's just like a cabin in the woods, and Vic Sage comes after them, and they have to keep their emotions in check, seeing their this person they both have history with, coming back and using Vic Sage's memories against them and things like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not like an exceptionally exciting issue, but I really like it. That's one that always stands out to me, is the question one. And then, of course, just because of feelings, the Booster Gold ones, where Ted Kord is resurrected as a Black Lantern, and he I think he does kill Daniel Carter, aka Supernova. But Blue Beetle's death is like the thing that haunts Booster Gold more than anything.
Yeah.
And so that one, there's a lot of emotions in that one. And they were like such good buddies. They were in the Bwaha era of the Justice League. They were like the best of friends. And then Booster Gold wasn't able to save Ted Kord the first time. And then even through time travel on that, he learns that Ted Kord's death is one of those sort of concrete moments that can't be fucked with. Just like what happens to Barbara during Killing Joke, or like all of these sort of things are things Booster can't change no matter how much he wants to. So then to see even like a corrupted, like wrong version of Ted actually come back, that's tough for that character, for Booster. So again, not necessarily like an exceptionally written tie-in or anything, but like because of feelings, I enjoy that one. So for me, it's Booster Gold and The Question are ones that stand out for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on then. And with that, the Dr. DC podcast will be back after this quick break.
He was black. He said, "This is for the street. Black Lightning's back."
Jefferson, I'm glad you're here. I wanted to tell you that this episode of the Dr. DC podcast is brought to you thanks to our sponsor, Great Lakes Grooming Company. They're a grooming company, Jefferson, and I, James Remar, will tell you about them now.
Yeah.
I have some personal favorites. I was told to pick two. Here they are. Number 1, beard oil. It comes in different scents. Your Love is a scent. Trusty Woods is a scent. Clear Creek Coffee is a scent. You could apply some after a shower to nourish your beard. Use the hand-relic boar bristle brush to spread it evenly through your beard. Stimulate skin underneath. And bracket. And another one I would choose to tell you about, Jefferson, is the Peppermint Lime Lip Balm. Do you know that sometimes lips can get dry? I didn't know. What a surprise. But you can fix it with this. It's perfect for chapped, dry lips. It's got peppermint and lime in it, as the name would imply. Great Lakes Grooming is meant to be easy and ready to use rain or shine. I tell you this all the time. All of their products are purposefully designed and environmentally responsible. They're handmade in Canada and ready for adventure wherever one may find themselves. I love them. I love them so much, you can hear it in my voice. And for you lucky listeners, you can get 10% off on Great Lakes Grooming regular price products. You go to www.greatlakesgrooming.com and use the promo code Dr. DC Podcast. Do you hear me? That's www.greatlakesgrooming.com, promo code DRDC Podcast. Do you get it, Jefferson?
Yeah, I do.
And now, on to the show.
I trusted you, and now I continue to trust you with these great offerings.
Thank you, Jefferson. Don't be mad. I had to do what I had to do.
Black Lightning out. We're back.
Hey!
Whoa, that was
A high energy ad.
yep. Well acted.
Well performed.
Let's head over to email.
Chicka the email.
Hope it's from a female. I always like that.
Yeah, I know.
It makes me happy.
I can tell.
Yeah. Stump Chunkman was showing me all of his. He has all the figurines, the collectibles.
Oh, what, of Homestar Runner?
Yeah, he's got all of the cheats and
Oh.
and he sent me a DVD and it's like the first original 50 emails.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was like, you need to get me those.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Like he has all the cheats like from when they did like the G.I. Joe rip-off.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
He's got like everything. He has like so much. He's got all the different types of cheats.
That's pretty amazing.
If he had the Cheetar, I'd be really jealous, but I don't think he does.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was fucking stoked when I saw that.
Danger Ask 1. Danger Ask 2.
First question comes from our old friend Dave Rossi.
Hey, Dave. Dashel, turn off the podcast.
Seriously, Dashel. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this.
Listen, Dashel, we get it. You want to learn about superheroes and comic books.
And we're hilarious.
And we're great.
Yeah.
And inspiring role models.
Yes.
but just there's some salty language.
Some inappropriate content.
Only some.
Yeah. Some adult
everything. So please
turn off the podcast.
Please, for God's sake, turn off the podcast.
After, of course, you subscribe to our Patreon, buy some merch, and subscribe to your podcast.
I do like to imagine that Dave is like, there must be some way that my child can enjoy this show. It just spends like fucking hours like bleeping and censoring and like splicing
I also like
the actual usable shit from our show together.
I just like the idea that it's like Flash, DC Comics,
wait, Aquaman. Jason Momoa makes me. And that's the show. You can find us on Facebook.
5 minutes of useful content.
Yeah, these episodes are so short. Why do they only do one a week?
They just reference things they like.
They just say a bunch of names for 5 minutes.
Let's see what Dave has to ask here. He says, the showrunners of the DC CW TV slate have been pretty successful at picking and choosing elements from these characters' long stories and tweaking them to create new takes on characters and stories. So for one, the first question, do you feel they've missed the boat anywhere in particular or otherwise tweaked something in a direction that maybe doesn't work?
My big one would be how Arrow did Count Vertigo.
Yeah.
The first season of Arrow was so clearly trying to be like a Christopher Nolan type thing. Like, this is a real world with a Green Arrow in it. And so their Count Vertigo was this guy who was like selling this drug, or like he was a drug dealer and the drug was vertigo, would make people kind of dizzy, and it was like in needles and shit like that. But he was just this young guy, like American guy, blah, blah, blah. Instead of being like someone from Eastern Europe with the power to like induce vertigo in others. Right?
Yeah.
So like, I get why they did it, but they fucked it up and then they killed that character off. Count Vertigo is like a major Green Arrow villain. That would be like killing the Joker in the first season of a Batman show.
Oh my God. Wow.
So that was kind of disappointing. But then season 3 or something like that, they brought in fucking Peter Stormare to play a new version of Count Vertigo. And his name was like Werner Zeitel. He's like Count Vertigo. He was like, he had the accent. He was the guy, but they still didn't give him the power. He was still just hawking that stupid drug. Like, I just wanted like a proper Count Vertigo. That I feel like is one of the biggest mess ups of the Arrowverse. I get why it happened, but even when they had the chance to fix it, they still didn't do it right. And Peter Stormare is a great actor. He would have been perfect. But they didn't give him the power. That's the thing, right? Green Arrow is like deadly accurate and that sort of thing. Count Vertigo like literally like puts him off balance. Like it's the perfect in the way that Captain Cold and the Flash work really well against each other. So yeah, that feels like the biggest missed opportunity to me.
Yeah.
Now, you haven't really watched Arrow, but you have just gone all the way through the Flash. Is there something from the Flash that you think is like, oh, they kind of fucked that up or something like that?
I think they're like Killer Frost. I've been not super happy with. That's a character that I feel like they've really messed up. Now, what they're doing with her in the 5th season, I'm actually really intrigued by. I don't want to spoil that too much, but you actually get some more information about Killer Frost, and maybe she came about at a different time than you might have thought she did.
Seems to be not like dark matter related.
Yes, which is really exciting. That I think that's,
or if it's not, or rather, could still be related to dark matter, but not necessarily the particle accelerator.
Exactly.
explosion.
Yeah. So that part has made me almost go, oh. But what I'm really tired of is like, I don't want these powers. I want these powers.
Yeah.
I don't like my mom. I like my mom. Like it's just so there's so much flip flopping with her that it drives me crazy.
I don't think I love that they're two personalities.
I think that part's interesting. Like I like it as a character, like as a plot device. I think it's interesting. I think that they need to make it one person at some point. Like
Right.
and I'm assuming that's what they're leading towards, is that eventually she'll be able to become her whenever she wants, and they'll be the same person, maybe.
Right.
And maybe that'll be some weird character development where she has to they have to both come to terms with that. Like they have to come together.
Sure.
Whatever that is. But
That's fair. It does feel like for a while they weren't sure how to do it.
Season 4 was brutal with Killer Frost.
Well, but even Vibe was getting powers, but then there was no sign of Killer Frost. And then there was like, is there a sign of Killer Frost? And then it was like, oh no, she's always been Killer Frost because of Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, it does feel like they just didn't.
Now, I don't know what she's like in the comics, but
different.
Yeah, and
certainly not like that. She's one person, first of all. That sort of split personality thing is more like Dr. Polaris.
I just don't think that she needed to become Killer Frost. Like I get because of her name, like she needed to, but I just don't think that like they needed everybody to have powers.
Do you know what? It made more sense though when Firestorm was part of that show, because Killer Frost is a Firestorm villain. So in the first season, when you're meeting Ronnie and Professor Stein, you get Firestorm in there, and you're like, oh, and her name's Caitlin Snow. Like, and they used to be.
It's exciting for like a comic.
You're like, oh shit! Like, we're gonna eventually get to some sort of Firestorm Killer Frost thing, but then it didn't.
They just were
Firestorm went off with the Legends, and now is even gone from there because Stein is dead.
I would say that the way they've done Wally West was good, and then they were just kind of like, and then there's too many speedsters, so Legends gets them.
I mean, it would have been a ballsy move for a network TV show, but it probably would have been the better move to write Barry out and have Wally.
Yeah,
that's
tough for me because that's kind of why I stopped watching The Flash. Was Wally showed up and Barry wasn't have powers, and I just that's the point where I stopped watching the first time.
But there should have been a little bit more of that mentor thing that they're working together. You don't really see them work together all that much in that show.
Well, no, because he shows up and he already was a speedster, and then when he finally gets the abilities back, he somehow just remembers all of the abilities. Like I don't know, like they don't really. There's a little bit of like training in the beginning, and
they should have done more of that, and then Barry saves the day because he's the the more powerful or the more experienced Flash, and then he goes into the Speed Force, and then maybe that's it for a season instead of like he'll come back in the pilot or he'll come back in the first episode of next season. Like maybe Barry's just gone for a season and then he comes back. You know what I mean?
Like doing an actual like comic book thing, like where they take away a character and bring him back.
In the comics, Barry was gone for like 20 years.
I'll say also, I think it's time for Vibe to go. I think Cisco is great, but I think they had a really great opportunity recently where they could have set him free, and because I feel like that character can only go so far. I feel like
at the end of season 4, he should have taken up like Breacher's position, because then you can still bomb Cisco in for episodes when you need him or when you want him. But I do agree,
because also bringing in Elongated Man, the sort of funny things that you would get from Cisco, Elongated Man was kind of doing. So you didn't because Cisco for a long time
technically need like their tech person, but you could have brought in a different Wells or something like that. I do think that for Cisco's character, he should have gone and taken Breach's position.
Totally.
It'd been like a multiversal cut. It would have been cool for him too. And then imagine like doing a couple of episodes where you hop Earths.
Yeah.
With like, he's like, I need your help, Team Flash. This is beyond my pay grade. And you hop a couple of Earths. You go to like Pirate World or something.
Guess what? I would watch a show with just Cisco.
Yeah.
I would. I think he's totally got it. I also would watch a show with just Elongated Man.
Interesting.
I would totally watch an Elongated Man show. I was telling that to my wife the other day. I was like, this guy is amazing, and I would totally just watch an Elongated Man show. Right. And I never thought I would ever say that. But
yeah. Right.
But Ralph Dibny, like that casting has been perfect.
Sure. I'm glad that she's around now on Legends, but there's a couple of seasons there where Arrow did not know what to do. Oh, sorry. I take it back.
Yeah.
They fucked up Count Vertigo, but nothing has been fucked up more than Black Canary. First, it was Sarah Lance as Black Canary, but you already had a character called Laurel Lance. So why isn't she Black Canary?
That's
Right?
I wondered that.
And then Sarah died, and then she came back,
Yeah.
and then she died, and then Laurel became Black Canary,
Yeah.
but then Sarah came back, and then they were both kind of Black Canary for a bit, and then Laurel fucking died,
Yep.
and then you have Black Siren, you have Laurel from Earth 2, the evil one.
That's right.
She comes in, and now they have Dinah Drake, a new Black Canary. Like they could not have fucked up Black Canary more on that show, and that's not to say that any single one of those actresses weren't doing a good job or weren't interesting to watch or anything like that. That's not what I mean. But just like as a continuity or as an arc or like any sort of like logical trajectory for the character, it doesn't make any fucking sense what they did on that show.
Totally.
I have no idea what was going on there.
All right, well, let's go to the next part of this question, which is number 2. Who would you be most excited to see introduced in those shows, and who are you terrified they'll screw up if they're introduced? Which I am. I have a lot of answers for these. I'm excited.
Okay, well, I want to hear one.
Okay, first of all, who would I like to see introduced? Booster Gold.
Okay, yeah.
I think Booster and Barry would be a really fun
Interesting.
like connection. I think that like
You think he'd show up on The Flash as opposed to like Legends?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Legends, it's too much of that type of like they're already doing that
Too
sort
much
of
time
thing.
stuff. Okay.
It's already like, but also them as a team is kind of just like Booster himself. Like I
Sure, you're right. Yeah.
It's too much of the same, right? But I think like bringing it into the Flash, I think his sort of personality against Barry's is hilarious, and then him and Elongated Man against each other would be ridiculous because it's
Right.
two of the same sort of types of personalities, and you would get sort of like, oh, we can't have two of these types of people.
Right.
So I would love to see that.
Interesting.
Who do I think? Who am I terrified they'll screw up if they introduce? I feel like it's going to be probably the same as yours.
Okay.
Aquaman,
I mean,
because they've done it once on Smallville and it was terrible. And I get the want to do it.
well, but yeah, Smallville's costume budget basically stopped at hoodie.
Yeah, it was just like a guy in swimming shorts. It's Aquaman.
Cyborg just was in a gray hoodie.
Yeah.
He was not a cyborg.
No.
Yeah, interesting. I actually don't even suspect that they would bring Aquaman in to the shows because of how big that movie is and how
Oh, totally. Yeah.
you know how DC seems to work that way.
Yeah, for some reason, the character can exist on TV and in the movie.
Although they have hinted that Themyscira exists, we basically know that Bruce Wayne exists.
yeah,
in the
Gotham
Arrowverse.
exists.
But at any rate, right. Do you know what? Weirdly, I actually don't think they would screw Aquaman up.
Really?
The CW's
Lately has been good. I bet
yeah, I actually think I would trust them with
their batting average is really good lately, and I just feel like that's a character that's tough.
Yeah.
To give the credit it deserves, because you know what I mean. Like,
right,
and it's like, what do you do? Bring back King Shark again? Like,
right, yeah. I don't know.
it's like, oh, he got out again. I guess. Oh, there's this guy who's good in the water that we know from Earth, whatever. Like,
Yeah, but again, if we had Cisco working as
you could get a lot of
like
these
a preacher
characters.
thing, you can go to the water world Earth. And you can meet an Aquaman. Doesn't have to be the Aquaman. It could be like the
Could be a hook hand, yeah.
piratey hook hand Aquaman or something. You could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A character that I would love to see on the show, but I also simultaneously don't think they have the FX budget to make good, would be Metamorpho.
Oh, yeah.
I think Metamorpho's that would be a cool character.
We've all seen the close-up shots of Barry when he's doing some really crazy like speed thing and those terrible face shots.
I mean, do you know what? Probably for the budget and the amount of time they have to work on them, they're probably great.
Oh, they probably are.
But yes, I mean, they're clearly animated. It's not a movie, right?
They don't really look like that actor.
Yeah, I think Metamorpho is one I would love to see. He's the Element Man. He can like turn himself into different shapes, but also different like states of matter. And like he could turn himself all into lead or all into, you know what I mean? There's so many interesting things, interesting uses for that character. Plus he's super like tormented because he's basically like a hideous monster and he can't change back to being human. And that's really that sort of like powers as a curse kind of model of things. But because he's so like, he'd be so effects heavy, I don't know that they could do it.
No.
Do you know who could maybe pull it off? Because I'm pretty sure the Element Girl was on the Doom Patrol for a bit. Throw it in Doom Patrol, throw it in Titans.
Oh.
See a Metamorpho over there?
Yeah, they could do it.
That, I think, it would happen. But I think CW would be fun to see, but I think they could pull it off over on DC Universe.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it would work. So who are you terrified they'll screw up if introduced?
I think I'm just putting them together.
Oh, okay.
Because that's one I would want to see, and then I'm positive it wouldn't go well on the CW.
Okay, well, bring in one that you think that could work,
but that they'll screw up.
No, that you just want in.
Oh,
and that you think would be an easy fit, and you'd be excited to see.
Oh, fuck. That's a harder question than I would expect it to be.
Well, what do you mean with superheroes and like?
Because also so many of them have like there have been like little cameos of things or whatever. There's like actually quite a lot of superheroes in the Arrowverse.
Oh,
maybe Geoforce, another one of those outsiders. He's got sort of geomancy powers. He can control like earth and rock and make earthquakes and stuff like that. They had the
Didn't they have him?
Well, Geomancer is a very like D-list villain that did show up. But Geoforce is a superhero and who is much sort of higher rated, more popular and better known and stronger than Geomancer is. So yeah, I think I'd be interested in that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go to the second email we've got. Comes from Jeff.
Oh, hi Jeff.
Hey Jeff.
Oh, Jeff from email.
Yeah, Jeff. You know Jeff. Jeff asks, what do you guys think of Morrison's Doom Patrol? And we've already definitely talked about this at length, but we can go in a little more detail. And then he also says he introduced some pretty weird stuff in there, even for Doom Patrol, but I always loved it, especially Crazy Jane.
Yeah, I mean, Doom Patrol was always weird, but Morrison is the one who made it like esoteric, I think. And now that has become the Doom Patrol's thing. People are now sort of just in the Morrison model, right? Even Gerard Way sort of reinvented them a little bit, but it's still sort of in that, like, we're going to break the fourth wall. We're going to talk about existence as comic book, you know, like that, all those sort of Morrison kind of tenets. Yeah, Crazy Jane. I know we brought her up a lot, but Crazy Jane specifically is a character that Morrison created who has, I think it's 64 different split personalities, but each one of them has a different superpower.
Okay.
So depending on which personality is dominant, Crazy Jane has different powers. And she becomes like very much like sort of the heart of the team. Like the original team was Robot Man and Elastigirl and Negative Man, right? And the Chief. But then throwing Crazy Jane in there, it was like she kind of functioned the way that Martian Manhunter sort of does in the Justice League, where like, yeah, maybe like Superman is like the one you rally behind, or maybe Wonder Woman's like the compassionate one, but there's like the heart, right? Like the whole team kind of sort of only works because she's there at the center. And that's a Morrison creation. Danny the Street, who we've talked about before. Danny the Street is a sentient like boulevard, basically. And that's a Morrison creation. That's a very strange concept. I think in Gerard Way's run, Danny becomes an ambulance.
Jesus Christ.
And then I'm pretty sure that Danny actually has an offspring that is like a main character in that Doom Patrol series. So it's a character that is in the world of Doom Patrol, fictional, but exists in real life and is the offspring of Danny the Street. So like that's sort of where that went. But Morrison came up with Danny the Street. Morrison also came up with like some of those weird, like the painting that ate Paris, which we talked about with Kyle Clark, that story, Mr. Nobody, and like the Brotherhood of Dada, and like all these kind of like weird, sort of esoteric, high concept kind of things. That sort of defines the Morrison era of Doom Patrol, but it also basically changed the direction. So now that's what the Doom Patrol is now, which is kind of amazing to have something so like kind of arty and like, like intelligent and like delving into philosophy and not shying away from like playing with form in terms of like, how do you use a comic book to tell a story? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to hone in on like something very, very specific. I've got to say though, that Morrison's impact on Doom Patrol is maybe like bigger than his run, right? Like I'm saying, the fact that it kind of changed the direction of things. Some of my favorite Doom Patrol comics come after Morrison. I really like an arc called the Tiresias Wars, and that's post Morrison. But there's a character called Coagula that we've talked about a little bit. She was a transgender character, one of the first transgender characters in comic books. She has the power to either like melt solids or solidify liquids. And the Tiresias Wars is basically like an entire arc that uses like the trans experience as a metaphor, and it's her transness that saves the world in that story. It's like, and that's from like the 90s or something like that. But that's, who was the writer? Is it, Rachel Pollack, I think, created Coagula. But that's post Morrison, but it's sort of picking up on cues from Morrison. Yeah. I mean, I think my argument will be that what he did to change the direction is probably worth more than any single invention that he had. It's worth more than Crazy Jane. It's worth more than Danny the Street. It's worth more than Mr. Nobody or things like that. Or that panel of, the Brain and Monsieur Mala, finally admitting their love for each other and kissing and exploding. Like any of that shit, right? Those things are great moments, but they're not worth as much as like what he did for the series. And so that's why I'm excited to see the TV show, because I want to see how far they push it.
Yeah.
I think it's set up to be like something really like unique in TV.
When is it launch?
I think in the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. You would think normally when they like do the crossover so early, you would think that the other show would start really early, but
I mean, like the Flash did a backdoor pilot, and the Flash didn't come out for like another 8 months or something.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Well, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I got to catch up, man.
Yeah, because you haven't.
I only watched the pilot.
You haven't been watching Titans.
No. Have you been?
It's so good.
Really? Eh?
It's so good.
Flash or Titans?
Oh, that's tough. I really like Flash this season. They're very different beasts, though.
Totally different.
I really like Titans.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that gets me excited. I'm gonna have to.
Oh, it sure does.
Kathunk. All right, let's leave emails and head on over to Reddit, where everybody's nice and nobody's ever mean.
That's right.
It's less of a drop and more of just a statement, a general statement, a slogan, if you will.
A lie.
Yeah, a bold-faced lie. So the first question comes from Pex413.
Sure.
Yep.
The question is, I am not a robot.
The question is, I've seen stuff about the Chinese Superman. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got the yin yang on the. Yeah. Okay. I think it's Superman. How did he come about? Is that official?
Right.
So yeah, it's got the yin yang symbol, right? Yeah, I've seen some of this.
He had his own series. It was called.
There's a Justice League, isn't there too?
Called New Superman, and it's Super-Man.
Yes.
So his name is Kong Keenan, and yes, he's the Chinese Superman. Part of his origin is sort of tied up with some very convoluted, like retconning that like also kind of erased his own origin. So near the end of the New 52, post an event called Convergence, you discover that not only is there the New 52 Superman, but there's also the pre-Flashpoint Superman and Lois Lane are living in the New 52 universe. They end up, because of convergence, ending up there. They're in secret, living there as well, with their son, John Kent.
Yeah.
Near the end of the New 52 Superman sacrifices himself and dies. And through a process that involves like his chi, his Kryptonian powers are imbued into Kong Kenan. Now, later on, the New 52 Superman and the pre-Flashpoint Superman are merged together in an event called Superman Reborn. And they're merged together into one single history, which in a way technically undoes the origin, the origin that just happened of Kong Kenan, because this character is not that old.
No.
But the interesting thing about the Chinese Superman is he has Kryptonian powers, but they've made it so he's also kind of tied to magic, and specifically like a sort of like a Chinese sort of spiritual. I'll admit I don't understand it, but there's these different like aspects of chi or things like that, and so they've sort of ascribed the Kryptonian powers to those different aspects. Like there's one that sort of ties in, gives him the super breath, or there's one that gives him the strength or the flight. So
that's cool.
He's sort of partially got Kryptonian powers and partially has these sort of like Chinese spiritual, like almost magical abilities. So he doesn't have a magic vulnerability.
Obviously, because he uses them, yeah.
The way that Superman does. And then in his series, then he also gained like the power of like yin and yang. So
Yes.
his Superman symbol is now like, it's like the diamond shape with a yin and yang that make the S.
Yes.
Which is it's a dope design. It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, I mean, in the comics, China has made their own Justice League. So there is a Batman who is out of shape, but is a tech genius.
Oh, that's an interesting.
There's a Wonder Woman. There's a Flash who got her powers during the Speed Force storm that happened near the beginning of Rebirth in
And it's
Central
a
City.
lady too. That's cool.
Yep. There's the Aquaman is from North Korea. He's like a North Korean like experiment to make a superhuman.
Oh, really? That's fucking rad.
And that's like the Aquaman that's part of that group. Yeah, it's a really interesting kind of new corner of the DC universe. But yeah, Kong Kenan's an interesting character. He's also very braggadocious. He's not humble. He's like,
oh, really?
yeah, it's a really, really neat character. But yeah, essentially he has Kryptonian powers that were given to him from the corpse of the New 52 Superman, but then they've also sort of retconned sort of a magical Chinese spiritual side to his powers in there.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
All right, let's go to the second and last question. It's from Too Many Subs Banned Me. That's an hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a really, God, if you're a Reddit user, that's a really funny name.
It's a good name, man.
And been there.
Well, stop spamming every subreddit with porn.
If by porn you mean listen to the Dr. DC podcast, then yes.
That's Dr. DC After Dark.
After Dark.
You have to subscribe to our secret, very high Patreon level.
Yeah. Stump, you know which one we're talking about.
Calendars in the mail.
Yeah. So Too Many Subs Banned Me asks, what does it mean when things are described as pre or post Flashpoint? Oh, this is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Flashpoint Paradox movie, but Barry seems to fix everything in the end. So I don't know why you'd measure pre or post this particular event.
Right. So
it's really about the comics.
Although the movie also it is different. So in the movie, you're right. You don't really see the repercussions once Barry gets back from the Flashpoint universe to, he lets his mother die and then he comes back to the real world with the note from Thomas Wayne for Bruce.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where the movie ends. There are subtle differences, though. You'll notice that in the start of the movie, Flash's costume is just red with the gold. And at the end of the movie, it has gold lines through it, it's a different design. It's like the New 52 design. At the beginning of the movie, Batman's costume is more blue, and at the end it's black and gray. Again, more like the New 52 design. That's the movie nodding to what happened in the comics, which is everything fucking changed. So in the comics, Flashpoint that was the event that DC used to cancel their entire line of comic books and start them all over again with the New 52 universe. Some things didn't change too much. Some things changed a whole ton.
Yeah.
But basically, Barry going back and creating the Flashpoint universe, even when he tried to change it, when he's going back to put it right again, Pandora appears and merges 3 Earths together. Merges the Vertigo Earth, the Wildstorm Earth, and the DC continuity into one new multiverse and one new continuity.
One new 52, if you will.
Jacques Hughes. So that event folded in characters from like the Wildstorm universe, like the Authority, Midnighter, Apollo, Grifter, the Engineer, Harry Bendix, all that kind of stuff. It folded officially, more officially, because they were in Brightest Day, but characters like Constantine, Swamp Thing, all that kind of stuff. And then it basically reset a bunch of continuity. That's what the New 52 was. So the reason people say pre or post Flashpoint is that it's as much of a demarcation line in continuity as the original Crisis. We say pre and post Crisis, and that means something. Mm-hmm. And then pre and post Flashpoint does mean something. And then now we're into the Rebirth era, which is kind of reconciling pre and post Flashpoint. The whole point of the Rebirth era is actually to bring those things together again so that the best of each are now the history.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so if you're just watching the movie, you're right. You get to the end and you're like, oh, like that seems like a weird thing to like highlight. But in comics, Flashpoint really upset the status quo.
And the TV show, not much either.
Oh my God. Why like that world is fine. Lose your memories.
Yeah.
It's fine.
A boo-hoo.
That Flashpoint world was fine. Flashpoint in the comics and in that cartoon is like the world is ending. The Amazons and the Atlanteans are like at war and it's ravaging the earth and the whole world's going to be destroyed. And in the Flashpoint was just like someone else is the speedster, and I'm fine.
They had the opportunity to do an actual crossover, which they didn't do. Yeah. You could have spanned it across all of the DC stuff and actually gotten the.
And all that it really changed is it changed the gender of Diggle's child.
Yeah.
On Arrow,
ooh, which he was not so happy.
It changed a bit about Killer Frost. It changed a bit about Vibe. And it brought Ralph Dibny back from the dead.
Yeah, which
because in the first season,
didn't know that.
In the first season, they're listing names of people that were killed in the particle accelerator explosion. Ralph Dibny's name is among them. And in season 5, Ralph says something about like they're talking about Flashpoint for some reason. He's like, yeah, or like there could be an Earth where like I died in the particle accelerator explosion. Or when he's coming up with his manyverse.
I do remember. Oh, that part is so fucking funny. He's just like, no, I know this is a little bit confusing.
Where he finally catches up to what they've been doing the whole time.
My favorite too is they're just like, yeah, you've already met people from there. And he's just like, what do you mean? He's like, the best line in all of the entire Flash series is that they're just like, what did you think we meant when we said that they were from Earth 2? And he's like, I thought it meant they were from Earth also. I died at that line. From Earth also. That's the fucking funniest thing ever. God damn, that show is.
But yeah, so I mean, like in TV, even Flashpoint doesn't even seem like that much of a demarcation line. But yeah, I mean, if you read the comics, everything changes.
Yeah. There is something that they fucked up from the comics to the.
That is a very big one.
That's the biggest one I think for me is that it's something that could have lasted the whole season long.
And they didn't even use it to fix the Black Canary shit.
No, they didn't.
Or any like all of those things we were complaining about. Yeah. You just be like, we're doing Flashpoint, start fresh.
Yeah,
fucking fix it. And
they
didn't.
God. Yeah, that's that. Okay, that answers 2 questions.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, you know what? That was the last question. So you know what time this is.
Uh-oh.
Now, do you want to do it first or after?
Well, let's do ours. Let's do ours first.
Okay.
Do you have one?
I do. Okay. I just thought of one as we were talking.
Oh wow! Saved by the bell.
Yeah. This is going to be real dark.
Oh no.
The character's name is Long Lost.
Oh.
It's a villain, and they have the ability to turn into whoever you wish you could see most.
Oh, they're like a boggart, but for sadness, not for fear.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's exactly how I got there, actually. So whoever,
Right.
whether that person's dead or not talking to you anymore or whatever, whoever you would want to see the most at that moment, that's who they turn into. So if Barry's gonna fight them, suddenly they turn into his mom.
Right. Oh. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. Or your dead son, or whoever it is.
Oh, that's so sad.
Like a little child holding a teddy bear, and it's just like, Daddy, I don't want to go. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to beat that villain.
So I have a character that is admittedly inspired by some episode of Star Trek that I recently rewatched.
Nice.
So we've been talking about
the
the stuff with the phase cloak,
Okay.
where they not only go invisible, but they also sort of shift where they are in reality. Their molecules phase around other things. They can move through things.
Yeah.
So my character is called Translucy.
Oh God.
Translucy. She is able to basically, if she touches she can do it to herself rather, but also if she touches objects or whatever, she can phase them to a different plane of existence.
Kind of like Flash time.
No, because flash time is only about how fast you're going.
Yes.
You're still in the world. It would be like you'd sort of step slightly out of reality or slightly out of sync with the vibrational frequency of your Earth.
Okay.
That's what Translucy can do.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But she and then the other part of that is that she's never fully opaque. She's always kind of got a foot in both worlds. So
she's a ghost.
She's kind of half see-through, but then she can sort of take things from one sort of plane into another. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's Translucy.
All right, well, let's head on over to the other dial docs then.
Yeah, we realized that we've been getting lots of great suggestions.
Tons of them, yeah.
Been retweeting and stuff like that, but we haven't actually shared them on the show. So because this is a bit of a grab bag episode, we thought this would be kind of fun to actually talk about some of the dial doc submissions that you guys have sent us, because some of them are really spectacular.
And the first one's actually our first caller.
What?
Yeah. Told you I had a surprise for you today.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so let's listen to our first caller.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Hey, guys, just Stump Chunkman here. I have a dial H for you guys. And the thing is that after he dials it, he turns into a poisonous bowl of soup to kill his enemies and whatnot. And his name is Me So Soup.
Oh my God. Oh my God. First of all, I mean, that's an incredible character.
Yeah.
Second of all, Stump, your voice is so deep.
I did not expect that. I'll be honest. I've seen photos of Stump. Did not expect that voice.
No, you could be the anchor of a barbershop quartet. Hello.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Miso soup is fucking, it's, again.
Miso soup.
Is it racist if it's funny? I don't know.
Oh my God.
Oh my.
Wow. Yeah, amazing.
Oh my God, that's
great
amazing.
dial doc. Thank you, Stump.
Oh, that's so
and
good.
thank you for calling. That's awesome.
Yeah, we got our first caller. That's awesome.
That's dope.
All right, let's go to the next one. Comes from Cosmic DM.
All right.
You actually retweeted this one today or yesterday. I can't remember. I think it might have been yesterday.
I think it's today.
Okay. And this is a great one. An older one too. I think just got in under the wire and you didn't see it.
I think
recently.
I just missed it. Yeah.
Yeah. The character's name is Pennyworth. Who's a hero or a villain who can transmute pennies into objects that are worth the same amount of a penny as the pennies were worth.
So I'm assuming it's not just things that are worth a penny, but it would be you couldn't transmute 1 penny into a table. You would need enough pennies to make up the value of the table, and then you could transmute it into a table. Is sort of how I imagined that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like if you had like 370,000 pennies,
then
then you could make like a shitty table, a shitty small table.
That's amazing.
But if you only had 1 penny, then that's as much of a table as you get.
It's gonna get really complicated too because pennies are like not made in Canada any longer.
Yeah, they're out of circulation. So if you come to Canada, that's a tough power.
That's really, really tough. Oh
that's how I read it anyway. I don't know if that's how they meant it, but that's how I picture it. That you can transmute pennies into anything as long as you have enough pennies to make up the value.
I like the idea that it's a lot of just like gummy fish that they're throwing at people.
Yeah, it's just like little sour tube things.
Just penny candies.
I do love that.
Oh my god, that's really funny. Well, we got a next one is from Chicken Maddie, whose character is
Matt Poulter.
No, it's Chicken Maddie.
Chicken Maddie.
Yeah. Whose character's name is Mr. Scorpion.
Okay. And what can Mr. Scorpion do?
The power to rock you like a hurricane. Here I am. Rock you like a hurricane. Mr. Scorpion.
Why are you doing that?
Because he has to be German, because Scorpion was made of Germans.
What?
The band Scorpions?
They're German?
Yeah, they're German. Oh, yeah. They're like super German. If you listen to their back catalog, too, you really hear it in some of the other songs.
Oh, man.
Do
they cover Du hast?
Du hast mich.
Du hast mich gehurricane.
It's my Rammstein.
That was very good. Oh, I didn't know the Scorpion was German.
Yeah. Mr. Scorpion.
That makes a lot more sense then. I wasn't sure why you were doing it.
Now think of it like think of like even just that song.
Yeah.
Here I am. It's they've got an accent even in the
rock you like one hurricane. Like ein hurricane.
The next question comes from Puffed cheek pastries makes lots of food, makes delicious treats for me. I wish I could cook. The longest one we have.
So good though.
Oh, it's so good. Their character is Moon Roxanne.
Oh, okay.
I know. I like this name.
Yeah,
it's good. Who can manipulate gravity depending on how fast or slow she plays songs from The Police. Weakness is playing any songs from Synchronicity.
Well, do you know what I would tell her is don't stand so close to me.
I was going to say, you don't have to put on the red light.
Moon Roxanne!
You don't have to fight that guy tonight.
I like the idea though that it's about the speed of the song. So like if you want to manipulate more gravity, it's like you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right. That's it.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one a lot.
That's funny.
We got another one we got a few from Stump Junkman. He's enjoying these. The next one's from Stump, and his character is Dog Walk, and its abilities are a dog that walks itself when it needs to go out.
That's it.
It's a very self-serving. I think that's just called well-trained.
Somehow less weird than Dog Welder.
Somehow, yeah. Oh, I have no idea what to do with that one. Dog Welder, can you help us? Yes, I can.
Well, I can help myself.
Yeah, I can help myself. All right, let's go to the next question. The next dial doc from Talking Superman.
All right.
He said, also, is this good for a dial doc hero? The Sini. It's a genie but grants 3 fishes. Can do unlimited fishes. I think my response to that was, The only problem is that it's constantly covered in semen.
Seaman. Swallow, come.
That's right. I like one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Seenie, thanks for showing up.
I love the pun that it's a sea genie, but it grants 3 fishes. I do love that pun.
But it can do unlimited fishes.
Yeah. I mean, so it's already better than a genie.
Yeah. At least. Unlimited amounts better, I think.
Yeah.
For all your needs of fish.
But do you think? But it only grants the fishes. It doesn't grant like a wish regarding fish. So like if you just wish for unlimited fish, you would instantly get unlimited fish.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You wouldn't just get like a fish a week.
No. It could be just how many fish you want.
Yeah.
If you ask for unlimited fish, you'll get an unlimited amount. So here's the thing. Is an unlimited amount just constantly coming?
Well, but this is what I mean. I think because you can't specify the time, you just instantly get infinite fish.
But because infinite is never ending.
I think what would happen is basically the mass of infinite fish would like compress into like the biggest black hole in the universe,
and just
you'd be sucked into this fish hole. And that's the end of existence.
Man, I totally went on. I totally dropped into a fish hole. We went out in the summer. We went to London, rock the park.
What?
Got to see fish play all night.
Oh, fish. Oh, fuck.
Dropped into a real fish hole.
God damn it.
A PHI and PHISH.
Despicable.
No. There's 2 options, because if it was unlimited, constantly just coming, then you could like turn that into a business. But
yeah, exactly, right? If you can't specify, that's a really big problem.
I mean, you're really getting a sort of I Love Lucy situation potentially, but
at least that's manageable.
Just like shoving fish into your like pants. And
go on, put one down your top.
Why is Alfred here?
That's a callback.
Oh yes. Okay. Wow. Way to go.
Yeah, deep cut.
Yeah. All right, and the last one also comes from Stump Junkman.
All right, let's have it.
His is Batman, Bat-Man, not the Chinese Batman. This is a different Batman.
Wait, sorry, it's Batman.
Well, because didn't you say that
the Chinese Batman is Bat-Man?
This is also Bat-Man.
But it's not the Chinese Batman.
It's not the Chinese Batman.
Okay.
It's an anthropomorphic Louisville slugger. And his weakness, a curveball. What a curveball.
It's an anthropomorphic Louisville slugger. I do like that.
It's Batman. It's about as like literal as man bat, so.
Well, yeah, fair enough. You know what? I was going to shit on it, but you're right.
Yeah. Oh man, those are awesome.
Those are great. Thank you guys for sending those. Please keep sending your dial docs.
I have been really, really enjoying these. We want to hear as many as you guys can send us. And you can do so using the hashtag DialDoc. And you can give us your ideas for a hero, a villain, or somewhere in between, maybe. Or you can just talk to us online. Send us a question for what? Do you know what the next episode? What's 86 going to be?
Oh shit! Oh! Right. So
is this just characters we've gotten rid of? 86. Yeah.
Oh fuck! Oh, that's a clever little thing. Yeah. No, we got rid of the for a reason. I think. Actually, my. I don't have it for you right now because we're recording these out of order.
Yes.
But basically, I'm giving you a reading assignment. Because it's our last 86 is our last episode before Docmas.
Holy shit, it is. Oh my god, we're already there.
So for this
my
one,
poor liver.
because it's the last episode before Docmas, I want to cap off Superman's 80th year by giving you the death of Superman, and we'll read that. We'll talk about that. You've seen the animated film, so we'll sort of compare and contrast. But basically, talk about sort of death and reign of Superman, that'll cap off Superman's 80th year.
What a year of Superman, with all the Superman movies and TV shows and comic books that we've seen. I'm so excited for the year of Batman.
Well,
it's that next year.
Next
isn't it?
year.
Yeah. Gulp.
Yep.
Where we won't see another Batman movie probably either.
Gold.
All right. So if you want to send us a question for this Superman episode, or just nerd out with us online, you can do that too.
You're getting so like meek.
You guys,
Please hang out with us.
please. No, I'm way too mean to them to be like that. Listen, fuckers. Reach out to us on Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Twitter.
At Dr. DC.
We've got an Instagram.
Dr. DC Podcast.
Send us an email.
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Got a cool subreddit
r/Dr_DC.
where people stop asking questions they shouldn't have.
Yeah, that's right.
You can also send us. You can also talk to us, but also you can also read some of the things that we have. We have articles on our website. Wow,
Nice. You've stuck the landing.
Whoa. Call me Christy Yamaguchi because I stuck that landing.
Weird reference.
That's what I'm here for. Or review our many wares on our website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
And now we have another great way to hear from you. You've already heard one message. We want to hear more messages. Now, it doesn't have to be a dial doc. You can just call us and say whatever. You can just say what's up. You can
Maybe not say whatever, but like anything sort of remotely podcast related.
well, whatever.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, just whatever.
But yeah, you can ask us questions. You can do a dial doc. You can just give us some feedback on not the podcast, but of DC.
Yeah, we don't want that. Our
No,
skin
God,
is
no.
far too thin.
No, really way too thin. But yeah, just give us a call. The doc phone is now open. So leave us a voice message at 208-917-DCEU. That's 208-917-3238.
Nice.
Oh yeah, and then don't forget to subscribe to the podcast.
Subscribe to the podcast. We're on iTunes and Google Play and Libsyn and all sorts of places, SoundCloud.
Don't put the effort to have to check if
Spotify.
we have a new episode out every week. You know it's coming.
Just subscribe.
Just subscribe. It helps us. It helps you.
And if you want a bonus episode every week, if you want to get in on Dr. DC Double Dose,
Because good lord, I'll give you guys a. Would this have already come out?
it would have.
Okay, the episode that just came out. If you are not already subscribed, the one that just came out, I put 6 hours into producing this episode.
It's insane. It's more than you've put into the sum total of the rest of the podcast.
It's the only thing I've been proud of.
In my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So patreon.com/DrDC. Yeah, it's $5 a month and you get a whole bonus episode every week. And it's us sort of expanding our
It's the freeform jazz of Dr. DC.
It sure is.
We the first episode we reviewed the pilot for Supernatural.
That's right, because I did finally watch it.
Yeah, but we're open to tons of other stuff. We can talk about DC movies. We can talk about Marvel stuff if that's what you guys want.
It's our place where we don't have to be bound by the sort of format of the podcast with news
laws
and
of
questions,
physics.
or bound by the laws of physics or the rules of improv.
Yes. God, no, we didn't follow those at all.
Yeah. So,
And then also, final note, make sure to rate and review us on iTunes. We haven't gotten a review in a little while, and maybe that's because we haven't made a new thing that we're working towards, but those really help us out.
sure, yeah.
We got to think of that.
Right.
Sexy cosplay photos.
Okay, but I'm setting the number higher than 30.
Yeah, that's true. 31.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm not cheap. And next week we're back. Same doc time, same podcast boat.
That can't be the sign off now.
Ciao, ciao.
Adios.
All the superheroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.